come on.
Okay, so this is what wetlands look like after Katrina, and you can see. So here's the river. So the Mississippi River comes down here and comes out to the ocean. So this is all ocean, and this is ocean, seawater. So there's a levee along here to protect. There was a natural levee historically because of just the natural flooding, but then humans built it up pretty strongly, and now there's a back levee over here. So essentially, folks or houses and things like that are contained in this little strip. And basically, this is also this freeway. So the freeway runs down through here and goes down off the map to a place called Venice, this big port. And essentially, this only exists because of the oil and gas industry. If it wasn't for the oil and gas industry, it's so hard to maintain this, and it's sea level rise and this wetland loss and all that stuff. It would be abandoned. But you can see, Sean was just pointing out over here. Sean B was just pointing out here.
I was pointing up here.
But that you can really, I mean, check this out. So this should be all marsh. So the biggest stressor here is that we don't have the sediment deposition that is counteracting the normal senescence and everything. And so so normally historically every year it makes a big, like a delta, your hand, a big letter D, depositing sediment and counteracting the subsidence and everything else. We've completely cut that off by making these very, very tight levees. So we no longer allow the sediment-rich deposition to fill us in. But also, look, these guys have carved these tremendous lines, deeply straight. So the natural, the natural pathways would be stuff like this. See these little tidal channels, kind of squiggly, whatever. The human ones, like all this kind of squiggly, sinusoidal types of things. This is natural. This ain't natural. And you can see this person wanted to get to his place or her place, probably his place. And so canal like boom going that way, canal boom going this way, canal boom going this way. And one of the things that also acts to do now that we have the sediment cut off is it also allows water to come farther in. If we are as we go farther up and we get more away from the ocean influence, we get more into freshwater marshes, and these canals allow that a salt water to come in and penetrate, and that can cause problems as well. And so many of these canals are to support not every single one, but many of them to support oil and gas activity. And one of the classic things we see here in Louisiana is if this happened in California, Michigan, somewhere else, and we did something, we'd be done with the drilling or whatever. Then we have to clean it up. We have to restore the site. They legally have to in Louisiana too, except nobody does. And in fact, several years ago, when people started challenging this legally, the state changed its constitution to make it illegal for you to enforce oil and gas, essentially post-development restoration contracts. So even though they're supposed to fill it, so they've dug out a bunch of marsh, etc., to do the oil and gas, they've sucked all the oil and gas out, and that in and of itself contributes to subsidence because we're sucking out this material, so it helps lower the local surface of the ground. When they just walk away, they leave it. And what we see in storms and things, these open areas act as nucleating centers for more wind and more waves, and those help to erode the marsh too. So all this stuff, there's many different sources, but they all feed on each other, and the answer is less and less wetland, less and less healthy wetland, and a massive loss. We in California have the greatest proportion of wetlands lost. We've lost 91% of our historic wetlands that were here 150 years ago, but Louisiana has the greatest absolute quantity of wetlands being lost anywhere in the U.S., and it's because of all these silly practices. But that's a little bit about wetland loss from a table in
Bourree.
In Bourree, New Orleans.